Good afternoon, and thank you all so much for joining us here at Louisville Metro Hall. At Louisville Metro government, we're working every day to make Louisville a safer, stronger, and healthier city. And I'm very proud that last week, in partnership with President Winkler and his colleagues on Metro Council, we unanimously passed our new city budget that begins in just a couple days when the fiscal year begins. I'm proud of the negotiations and respect that my Metro Council colleagues and I established in the process for one another. We partnered together to come up with a budget that could move our city forward, to make investments that will help make important progress in areas like public safety, infrastructure, economic development, and more, all over our entire city, inside the Waterson and outside the Waterson. Of course, the reality is that to make the amount of progress that we want to make here in Louisville and the amount of progress that the people of Louisville expect, we need more help than just working together within our city. We need to work as close as possible with our leaders in the state capital of Frankfurt. And that's why I am so grateful for the incredible partnership and support that we have from Governor Beshear and his entire administration. They have done such amazing work to invest in Louisville, to support economic development here, to help us with our biggest challenges. And today is a great example of that. Earlier today, Governor Beshear announced a $1.1 billion investment in Kentucky with U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo. That is going to make broadband access for everyone in our state, in our city, a reality. Those are the types of groundbreaking investments that Governor Beshear has led in Louisville and throughout our state. And I'm so thrilled that we're here today to continue talking about wonderful new investments that the state is making in Louisville and in our surrounding counties. We are proud here in Louisville to be part of Team Kentucky, and we want to continue to work with Governor Beshear and his administration and the entire General Assembly to help our community and every community across Kentucky become safer, stronger, and healthier. That is our goal. So, Governor, welcome to Louisville Metro Hall. Thanks for coming back home, and I'm excited to hear about these amazing announcements that you have with us today.
Thank you.
Thanks, Governor.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Mayor Greenberg, for that introduction. Glad to be joined by members of the General Assembly and our Metro Council President. I'm excited to be back in Louisville, a town I called home for 15 years, where my kids were born and where we've raised them for at least the first part of their life. We've been here a lot lately. Just this month in Louisville, we celebrated Simmons College offering courses to inmates at our penitentiaries, helping us achieve the lowest recidivism rate in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. That makes us safer while living out our faith and values about second chances all at the same time. Together, the mayor and I announced a $1 million funding grant to ElderServe in West Louisville to make sure that our aging population can get great services regardless of where they live in this city. We met with union workers at Local 181. We cut the ribbon on a new senior care center. We packed backpacks for homeless veterans. We saw the opening of Country Boy Brewing at the Falls City Market. And earlier today, like the mayor mentioned, we got to celebrate a $1.1 billion grant that is going to help us as Kentuckians get high-speed internet to every single Kentuckian with nobody left out. Just think about what that's going to do to provide this modern, necessary infrastructure for education, for health care, for safety, for entertainment, to every single household and business across our Commonwealth. This is an exciting time for Louisville, and today we're joined also by some other local leaders, and you'll hear from them in just a little bit. We have Cleo Battle from Louisville Tourism. Good to see you. We have from St. Matthews, Mayor Tonini and Chief Wilkerson. From Linden, Mayor Hagan and Chief Schroeder. And I want to recognize Jared Haley and his team at the Kentuckiana Regional Planning Development Agency. So today we have good news for Louisville. We're announcing funding that'll bring more tourists to town. We're making a major roadway safer and more accessible, and we're having funding to support our law enforcement, which every day work to keep us safe, and certainly in my life very recently had some really heroic actions that mean some of my friends are still with us today that otherwise wouldn't have been. Today shows what's possible when we're all working together, whether it's multiple cities inside of a county, whether it's Democrats or Republicans, when we stop trying to move a state to the right or the left and just move it forward for every single family. So let's get to it. First, we have some incredible news for Louisville tourism. The dollars that we are celebrating today were appropriated by the General Assembly, so Senator, Representative, thank you for your amazing work. It recognizes that tourism is an $11+ billion industry in Kentucky. It's what brings people here to spend their tourist dollars, but right now, it's what convinces people to stay. We are creating more jobs than ever before in our history, so much so that right now we have a good job for everyone that we can get trained for, educated for, and healthy enough to fill. When we think about what we can do to address generational poverty or restore hope in times like that, it's nothing short of incredible. But even with that, we're going to need more people. We're going to need more people to see everything that makes Kentucky great and come and help us create this economy of the future. So tourism is no longer just bringing people here to visit. They're introducing people to Kentucky that are ultimately going to stay. So today we're announcing more than $12 million to support marketing and promotions, as well as attract meetings and conventions to Louisville. We're joined today by Cleo Battle and much of his staff from Louisville Tourism. Would you please join us to accept this check, and I don't want to short you, for $12,118,199. Let's move over here so everybody can be a part. Come on. Just make me look short.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Let me just say, on behalf of the 64,000 folks that work in hospitality and tourism in Jefferson County, and for my peers around the state, which, by the way, tourism is the third largest industry in the state, thank you, Governor. Thank you to the legislators. Our industry needed this shot in the arm. Less than 2 years ago, we were at 38% of our budget, trying to move this destination forward. We haven't recovered yet in occupancy, and we haven't quite recovered yet in meetings and conventions. And if you live here, you know the impact of meetings and conventions in our community. We hosted 881 meetings conventions in 2019. This year, we're expecting about 650. That's what these funds will help us to do. But you know, the mayor talked about the support of the state to move Louisville forward. We're also happy to partner with Louisville Metro on a new wayfinding program here in the city. We're happy to partner with Louisville Metro on developing a new art trail here in the city. How do we continue to make Louisville a great place to live and a great place to visit for our visitors as well as for our residents? So on behalf of our industry, Governor, thank you so much.
All right. Don't forget your check for $12 million. There you go. Oh, we got some more good news for the tourism industry. We're also announcing $500,000 for the Garden and Gun Bourbon Country Curated Experience. The project will highlight Kentucky's bourbon country through a multi-day packages across 5 jurisdictions. We're also joined by Kim Hides of Oldham County Tourism. Kim, if you and Cleo would join us to accept this check. I'll clap for you. Come on, everybody. We can all fit.
I can talk about the smaller community and ARPA's benefit to us. We're so excited to be part of 8 different projects across the state with ARPA funds for multi-jurisdictions. So this is one of our projects. We were doing one with a Black History Trail. So it allows Oldham County Tourism to be part of a much bigger picture than we would normally be part of. So we appreciate the funds, and we appreciate getting the word out about what Oldham County has to offer in a much bigger market than we're used to. Thank you.
Next up, we have some good news for LaGrange Road. We're announcing more than $870,000 to install bike lanes and sidewalks, improving safety for cyclists and pedestrians. New turn lanes will help improve efficiency and reduce emissions. So Mayor Greenberg, if you would be willing to accept, it looks like $876,000.
Great. And Marcus, too. And Marcus.
Well, Governor, thank you for this investment, and thank you to the legislature. I think, for those of us that live in the East End, LaGrange Road is a key corridor, travels through many of our suburban cities, and, making this type of investment in core infrastructure, ensuring that we've got safe access for cyclists and pedestrians, I think is critically important, and we're grateful for the investment in the East End of town. Thank you.
All right. Next up, we have some funds that will help support law enforcement. These funds come from the Law Enforcement Protection Program, and they are really important. They're used oftentimes for equipment like body armor. And when we think about the multiple shootings, certainly one that was very, very personal to me, we're reminded of the danger that law enforcement run into each and every day. We lost 7 members of Kentucky law enforcement last year. We've already lost 1 this year. And as you know, we've got an LMPD officer that continues to fight for his survival and is making a miraculous recovery that shows his strength and his courage to continue. Without him and Officer Gatewood, multiple people that I know would not be here with us today, and to all of law enforcement, I'm really grateful. They'll use, first up, the city of St. Matthews. They will use nearly $200,000 to support their officers. Today we have Mayor Tonini and Chief Wilkerson. If you'd please join us.
Obviously, it's a great opportunity for the city of St. Matthews. I need to thank the governor and the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security for this funding. It enables us to enhance our capabilities to not only protect our officers, but the citizens of this community, which obviously is very vital and important. And again, thank the governor and the Office of Homeland Security for this funding. Thank you.
Yes. And we have our Director of the Office of Homeland Security, Josh Keats, here with us today, a Louisvillian. Thank you for what you do, Josh. Next up, we have some good news for the city of Linden. The Linden Police Department will use over $26,000 to help support their officers. Mayor Hagan, would you and Chief Schroeder please join us to accept this check?
So I'd like to thank Governor Beshear and the Kentucky Office of Homeland Security. The Law Enforcement Protection Program really is an outstanding program that helps us get the tools we need to protect not only our officers but the citizens we serve. In Linden, we're proud not only to serve the citizens of Linden, but we also serve 10 other Kentucky cities. So this will be a valuable addition to the tools and help us modernize what our officers have to protect everybody. Thank you.
Our last award today is for the city of Meadowvale. The Meadowvale Police Department will use a little more than $8,000 to protect their officers. Mayor Hammond could not make it here today because of the storms this weekend. Councilman Winkler, if you would join me to accept on his behalf.
We'll make sure the check makes its way to Meadowvale. But, Meadowvale is I'm fortunate enough to represent Meadowvale, actually represent parts of Linden as well. These are part of the fabric of Jefferson County is, the small cities, the suburban cities really make up, the heart of our city, I think. And I'm proud to represent many of them, and I know this money will go to good use in Meadowvale. Thank you.
Absolutely. And I want to thank each of these cities, and especially their law enforcement that help protect the people inside, and I know also respond when there are issues close by. In fact, I still remember when I was Attorney General, and there was an individual trying to evade the police that drove through the St. Matthews ball fields. And St. Matthews Police Department responded immediately, kept all those kids safe. My son was playing that day, so thank you for all of that work. We're out of checks for today, but our commitment to Louisville isn't going anywhere because together we've celebrated a lot of good news. We've announced millions of dollars in the Cleaner Water Program coming to Louisville, $7 million for career and technical education at JCPS. We've made sidewalks around U of L, JCTC, and Western Middle School more accessible. We were here to celebrate the completion of the Waterway Protection Tunnel. And we also announced the expansion of Waterfront Park, that $10 million expansion that's going to make sure that Waterfront Park reaches all of our neighborhoods and no one is left out. Now, this is a thriving part of what's going on in Kentucky right now. I mean, we are in the midst of our best years of job creation, our best economic role that we have seen in my lifetime. As we sit here today, we have 57,000 more filled jobs than before the pandemic, meaning we're not just bouncing back, we're marching forward. For the first time in our history, more than 2 million jobs statewide are filled. We've had the lowest annual unemployment rate in our history and the lowest monthly unemployment rate just 2 months ago. We are in our longest period of low unemployment we've ever seen. We're beginning to lead in the industries of the future, being the electric vehicle battery production capital of the United States of America. We're home to the biggest investments in the history of Ford and the biggest investment in the history of Amazon. For the first time that I can remember, all of our surrounding states are jealous of us. And it's because of the work of so many people in this room and across the state. And when we are bringing prosperity and trying to make sure it reaches everybody with no neighborhood left out and no part of our state left out, good things start to happen. We have fewer kids in our foster care system than we had several years ago. We talked earlier about the lowest recidivism rate in the history of the Commonwealth of Kentucky, and one I'm really proud of. And it's tens of thousands of Kentuckians that are making this happen and many putting the funding in, is we were one of only 8 states that saw a significant decrease in our overdose deaths last year. That's our first responders. That's everyone in treatment. That is so many people fighting for the lives of their friends and neighbors. All this progress, all this work, always starts on the local level. And I want to thank everybody in Louisville and Jefferson County and all of our cities for showing up every day and giving your best. I mean, we are starting to see such exciting returns for our hard work, especially during very difficult times. And we have the best chance to bring a level of prosperity to this state than any of us have ever seen. And it's our job to get this historic moment right, to make sure that everybody is a part of it, and not to fumble this football. Scripture tells us, let us not become tired of doing good, for if we do not give up, the time will come when we will reap the harvest. We have put in that hard work. We're starting to see the results. Let's keep this going. Let's bring opportunity to every single corner of the Commonwealth. Let's keep seeing more hope in areas that it's been hard to see hope in. Now, we can both create a prosperous Kentucky and do it by following our faith and values. It is not an either. It is an and we're doing it both right now. This funding, most of this funding would not have been possible without a General Assembly that was willing to provide dollars where they were needed, that believed in you, and that wanted to see these programs happen. So I'm going to turn it over to any of our delegation that's here that'd like to say a few words. Senator Berg, you want to kick us off?
God, I'm not prepared.
All right.
I didn't know I was going to be asked to talk, but let me tell you guys, if we do this right, if we come together with the voices of reason and the voices of let's move this state forward together, economic growth, academic growth, believe in what we can be, then we can be it. And God willing, now is the time and now is the leadership where Kentucky has a chance to be able to compete with the rest of this country. We can do it, we need to do it, and all it takes is making sure that we have leaders that want to move us in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much to the governor for being here and to Mayor Greenberg. Both of them are wonderful leaders that convince me that the brightest days of Kentucky are still ahead of us. I still believe that we can do big things in government, that although we have challenges in our state, that our best and brightest days are ahead of us. And the leadership in this room helps me to continue to believe that every single day. And so I'm grateful to get to work with such wonderful leaders to solve the problems in our community. And I'm so grateful to their commitment to Louisville. Louisville is the economic engine of Kentucky. As goes Louisville, so goes our state. Solving the problems in Louisville is essential to solving the problems we see throughout our Commonwealth. And I'm so grateful for these investments and for all of the good it will make in our communities. Thank you.
I am so grateful for the awards because tourism and safety is so important to our community. It is so vital that we take these opportunities to enhance and send a message that we are a force to be reckoned with, a place to visit. And I thank the governor and Mayor Greenberg for their leadership and moving us forward. Thank you.
Well, thank you to all of our elected officials from Frankfort that are with us here today. This is truly reflective of the types of partnerships that we need here to move Louisville forward, to move all of our partner cities within Jefferson County forward. I'm confident that that everyone is committed to working to make our city safer, to continue to invest in our city so that we have more good-paying career path jobs throughout our entire county, that we're a healthier city, that we invest more in key issues like affordable housing and so much more. We are really on the positive trajectory, and I'm excited to continue working with Governor Beshear and his administration to achieve all of these goals, not just for our city, but our entire state. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Governor Beshear.